Am I the asshole for not being part of my kid's life? From 18 to 25, I was an absolute wild child. Lots of beer and lots of hookups where we didn't even know each other's names. I was dealing with lots of damage, to the point where I don't even remember most of those years. Now at almost 40, I am much better now, with therapy and AA and my saint of a wife, but that's the important background. I was clear with my wife that it's quite possible I have some kids out there somewhere, though a lot of the women I slept with I have no way of contacting to be sure. My wife budgeted in some savings for if we ever have to pay child support for a couple of kids, but just asked that I get a paternity test before we welcome them in. We have no kids of our own, don't really want any. Last year, a 16-year-old boy contacted me, saying that I was his father. We'll call him KK. Claimed to be the son of one of my old classmates, and that his mom had raised him by herself because she didn't want to cause any trouble. But she had told him about me, all the time, and he had spent a lot of his life Googling me. He'd finally worked up the courage to contact me, and asked if we could meet. Since I can neither confirm nor deny sleeping with his mother, I agreed to meet between our two towns, me driving about 5 hours and him driving about 45 minutes, though I did tell him about my wife's request. He was fine with it. We met after the kit got here, he did the spit thing, gave it back, and we sat, talked, had lunch, and drove back home. We were not a match. I had my profile done a while ago, just so it was out there in case any kids found me that way. But Kay and I are not related. I contacted him, gave him all his data, and let him down gently. He was devastated. Crying, claiming it wasn't real, that he had spent his entire life idolizing me, that I had to be his dad. He begged to have a relationship, but I'm not entirely interested in building one with a random child. I apologized again, but left it at that. His mom reached out, begging me as well, saying that she was so sure I was the father, that it's destroying him not knowing who his dad is. I said it was a real shame, but that father isn't me. I'm not dad material, especially not for someone else's kid. This just came up in a convo recently, and sparked an argument. Some say it's fine, others say it was cruel to abandon a kid who spent his entire life believing he was mine. Am I the asshole here? Nah. You are right in not wanting to be a part of a kid's life who isn't your own. But boy, do I feel terrible for that poor kid. Info: did you do a proper paternity test? You say paternity test, but then from your phrasing it sounds more like you are relying on an ancestry one. I am guessing from the profile remark. If so, those are not accurate or certified in any meaningful way, and they vary massively in quality. For anything this important, get a real test done. How top is your wife though? I might have some kids from my messy years. Don't worry, let's save some of our money in case you do. Quality adult work. Nah. Poor kid, but I don't think him having a relationship with you where you both pretend you're his father is really what he needs. Not the asshole. I feel for the kid, but he did not spend his life idolizing you, he spent his life idolizing the idea of you. You are a stranger to him just as much as he is to you. The mother is Ta. She is the one who lied to him. Not the asshole. That child is not your child. His mother lied to him, telling him you were his father when she could not be sure of it. What I advise, do a second DNA test to be 100% sure, without using your existing DNA profile. You never know. I think this will help this young man. I know of a case when the DNA test for a girl was negative, but she kept thinking it was a mistake at the lab for years. If the two tests are negative, there can be no doubt in this boy's mind that you are not his father. It will help him. After that, you have no responsibility to him. It is very sad, but you are not his father. That's not cruel. What's cruel is someone bringing a kid up with an obsession about a stranger. This woman should have contacted you when he was a baby and spared him this pain. Everyone here is doing the best they can with the information they have, though, and it's okay if you decide that this isn't the right thing to get involved in. Not the asshole. I really sympathize with the kid, but not the asshole. Also, your wife is a great person. Not the asshole. What an uncomfortable, shitty situation. There are no winners here, but the kid is at the biggest loss. Poor kid. It's not your fault though. He is not your responsibility. This is honestly his mom's fault. She should have been positive before telling him. Nah. It's just a really unfortunately set of events. The truth came out, you aren't his parent, and you have no obligation to this kid to have a parental relationship with him, nor to his mom to father her kid for her, as weird as that sounds. She was mistaken, and even if you feel bad for the kid, you pretending to love him like a dad when you know that you can't is far more cruel. It would weigh on you. I don't think you should cave based on guilt. If you like this kid and wanna be here for him, that's one thing, but you and your wife don't intend to have children at all. Sucks for this kid, but this is something he's going to have to live with, and we can only hope that he has some solid supports in his life, probably not his mom, cause yikes. I wish all of you the best. Not the asshole. The mom led her son to believe that you were his father for years and you were unaware. She's created an idol out of you, for reasons unknown. Now, she wants you to be her son's father. When you already have a life. Ridiculous. I do feel for the kid though, it's not his fault. My recommendation, being of similar age to the kid myself, is send him a note of closure and encouragement. Be nice and don't leave him with, "I'm not your dad." However, do not feel any need to go any further than that. You are not his father and you have to live your own life. Not the asshole. The mother is at fault here for letting her son idolize someone whose paternity she wasn't even sure of, and begging you to be a part of his life for that reason is inappropriate. Poor kid. Not the asshole. There was no relationship there, and you're not responsible for his mother building up expectations in his mind that you were the only possible father and how great you were. The only person who the asshole is the mother for allowing her son to idolize you when she knew there was at least one other possibility. That poor boy. Nah. I can see why this would be bothering you. I really feel for Kay and I wish it was different. It isn't fair to him that he doesn't know who his father is, but you aren't the asshole because none of that was your doing. You don't have any responsibility. Info. Wait, did you do an paternity test or one of those 23andMe or Ancestry DNA tests? They're not a substitute. I'd do it properly. Not the asshole. I feel so bad for the kid, but this is on his mother. She should not have idolized you as a father, without being sure. Not the asshole. You didn't abandon him. Of course he is upset that the person he thought was his dad turned out not to be. But the only person at fault here is maybe his mom. She might have been sure you were the father, but apparently there must have been at least one other man involved, and she should apologize to her son for not telling who his real father is. Not the asshole. I mean, I always thought Tommy Lee Jones was a cool dude. Doesn't mean I can call him up and expect him to be my dad. Not the asshole. It sounds like you are facing your responsibilities as a possible father, and I am impressed at the efforts that you and your wife have made to be ready for this situation. However, this specific child is not yours, and although my heart breaks for him, it is not your responsibility to take on a relationship with someone you have virtually nothing in common but knowing his mom. Tough situation, but not the asshole. Nah. That poor kid though. It's heartbreaking. Nah. I feel sorry for the kid, but just to be clear, he wasn't idolizing you. He was idolizing his father, which might still be out there. His mother isn't really helping though. Not the asshole. You were honest from the beginning and established reasonable boundaries. You are not responsible for living up to his expectations, nor are you culpable in any way in this situation. Creating a relationship with Kay sounds like it would do more harm than good, particularly if he's developed a completely unreasonable idea of who you are, and how could he not? Kay needs to seek professional help to deal with his issues. Not the asshole. He is not your child, and you have no responsibility to be his father. His mother shouldn't have spoon-fed so much nonsense. Not the asshole. I feel for the kid. I really do, but you don't know each other and aren't related. I would feel differently if you had raised the child as your own, and found out later he wasn't yours, but that's not the case. I'll say it's low-key cruel, but that's on his mom, not you. This kid had his world wrecked, he seemed to idolize you, and now he knows you aren't connected at all. But again, this is on his mom, not you. Why did she tell him you were the father when you weren't in the picture? Why did she build you up to him without being certain? And if you aren't the dad, who is? All great questions probably in that kid's head, and only his mom has the answers, not you. Not the asshole. Nah. This is just a sad situation. It sounds like you're doing the right things now. The kid needs help, but you don't have to be the one to give it to him. Not the asshole. His mom let him down, not you. She shouldn't have told him that unless she was sure. She's now caused him emotional damage. If she thought you were the dad, she should have contacted you first. Gone through the correct channels. Not the asshole. It's terrible that the child was lied to and had his hopes built up, but that's not your fault. You owe this boy nothing. His mother is the asshole for telling him you were his father when she couldn't be 100% certain. Nah. I just feel bad for everyone affected. Nah. Like others have said, it's a terrible situation for everyone. I fully understand all the emotions involved. Not the asshole. The mom shouldn't have been so sure you were the dad. However, if you want to be a superstar, you could get the kid a commercial DNA kit like 23andMe. Help him find his family. There's a chance that his dad or one of his dad's family members has used it. Nah. I guess maybe the mom a little bit just for building you up like that, but at the same time, what kid wants to grow up hearing his dad was just some dude she didn't know all that well, and it sounds like she did earnestly believe it was you. The poor kid just wanted to meet this dad he'd heard stories about. It's a tough break for him, but asking someone who's essentially a stranger to assume even a little bit of a paternal relationship to him, not really knowing anything about him or what he's been told about you, that's asking a lot of you. You've got no obligation to be anything but polite and gentle when breaking the news, which it sounds like you did your best to be. Not the asshole. He has a father, but you are not him. Somewhere in the world there is a man with his eyes, or his smile, or anyway 50% of his genetic code, and he has the right to find him. However, it's crazy to pick up a random man and pressure him to play a role in his life without any real connection. It's honestly kinda creepy. His mother lied to him and that's her foe. I am sure that, with a little effort, she may recall the other people she must have had a thing with back then. She sounds a little bit insane, but on the other your wife sounds really great instead. Congrats for turning your life around. Nah. Are you sure the people you are arguing with realize that you only just met this boy? If you had raised him as your own, then I would think it was cruel to abandon him at 16 because you found out he wasn't biologically yours, but in this case there's nothing to abandon, you have no existing relationship with him. Even if you did try to build one, there's a high chance he would end up disappointed when the real you turns out to be different from the fantasy father he has imagined for years. What a sad fucking story. Not the asshole, but I get mixed feelings about this and especially the kid's mom. And #X200B. Why would she raise his hopes up in such a manner, and why wouldn't she clear this shit out when the kid was born or at a lower age? The mother is ta. Others say it was cruel to abandon a kid who spent his entire life believing he was mine. Since they are just as related to him as you are, why don't they go play dad then? Not the asshole. NTA. His mom needs to give him therapy. Not the asshole. The mother is the asshole for not even considering the possibility of her son being someone else's child. She's been giving him useless info about someone who possibly not the father without checking out the other men. You may have taken a paternity test with him, but you can get him an ancestry kit or 23andMe kit to give him a head start on looking for his real father and his family. He's going to be seriously resentful of his mother after this, but it'll help him get closure to know about his other half. Not the asshole. It's not your job to pick up the pieces of someone else's life. Not the asshole. She shouldn't have told him you were the father without proof. I understand she thought you were the dad, but unless she had a paternity test to prove it, she shouldn't have told her kid anything. She could have said maybe you were the father, maybe there was someone else, but she did her kid a great disservice. Not the asshole. I also find it weird that she would like there to be a relationship. Not the asshole. The mother is for telling him you are his dad for 16 years without once actually confirming that and letting him idolize you. Sucks for the kid, but you don't owe him anything and you tried to let him down gently. Not the asshole. It's not your fault that his mother told him a lie. She must have known that he could be someone else's. He spent his entire life believing he was related to someone he didn't know, and his mom never thought of telling him that the name she is dropping could possibly have nothing to do with him. Mom is the asshole 100%, and I feel really bad for the kid. Not the asshole. You've taken full responsibility for your past mistakes, did your due diligence and let the kid down gently. It isn't fair that they're trying to put all of that heartache on you because the mum didn't address hers. You are a complete stranger to the kid, and TBH it's pretty odd that he idolized you, unless maybe you're super successful and well known now, I guess. Really, if the mum was going to blow you up to be such a big deal, she should have been prepared for the fallout. She was obviously sleeping with at least someone else. Not the asshole. You aren't responsible for someone else's child. The mom should not have told him it was you. She should have said you were a possibility. At any rate, it sounds like he did an Ancestry or 23andMe kind of test. He should be able to figure out who his biological father is with it. Not the asshole. I can't imagine being a parent and begging someone I haven't known for 16+ years to be a father figure to my kid. Not the asshole. My heart totally goes out to Kay because I'm sure it's breaking, but that doesn't mean you are responsible to have a relationship with him because his mother gave him the wrong information his whole life. I don't even think Kay's mom was the asshole initially and giving her the benefit of doubt, because she genuinely thought you were Kay's father, and if the child idolized you then she probably wasn't trashing you these past 16 years. However, Kay's mom became the asshole when she tried to push you into a father role that isn't yours to step into. Instead of begging you to make up for her mistake, she needs to support her son and do whatever she can to help him find his real father. Those Ancestry DNA kits aren't that expensive these days. No assholes here. You're not an asshole for not wanting to be a father to a kid you never met and aren't related to, but the kid definitely isn't an asshole for wanting a dad. Way too many people in here are forgetting that no assholes here is an option. There's no asshole in this situation. Not the asshole. I really feel for this kid, but his mum really should have been 100% sure before telling him the identity of his dad. I can totally get how he'd be devastated to find out he no longer has clear answers about his father, but trying to find a dad in you is a big ask. Ultimately, I don't think trying to force a fatherly dynamic in light of this would be good for him.